Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about new machines, the purchase of new machines versus the purchase of old machines. Now, I'm not a manager, a salesman, scientist, or economist, or accountant, or anyone like that knows all these things probably inside and out. But with a bit of reflection on it, I wanted to make it something that I'd be able to understand easily and communicate to other people easily. And so as I thought about it, it began to come together, and all of a sudden there was on a sheet of paper what I like to call, voila, the horizontal Y-graph of new machines versus old machines. Now, I've got a sheet of paper here that's going to guide me through this because it gets a little complex and I don't want to skip a beat here, but basically it's a graph that shows the purchase of a new machine versus hanging on to or even purchasing an old machine. So here we've got our purchase point, machine purchase point. At this point in time, we buy a machine of such and such sort. Okay, we can, for argument's sake, we can pretend that this is a used machine or a new machine. It really doesn't matter. But going up and down this way, I have what I call functionality. Old machines, actually any machine, once it's purchased and put into use, is going to begin to deteriorate. So this here is the deterioration phase of a machine. But when you purchase a machine, we all know that life goes on. Competition out there for making the best, the fastest, the greatest, the etc., etc., you fill in the blanks, continues. So I have over here above the line what we call the technology improvement area of the graph. Like this here. Now, if you look at it, it looks like a horizontal Y. I didn't know how else to describe it, so that's what I called it. And over here, it doesn't actually work out line by line, but this is our purchase point at year 0. Here's 5 years later, 10 years, 15, 20 years later. I'm figuring on something like a 20-year lifespan, even though a lot of machines last much longer than that. But I condensed it into 20 years, and you can see what I'm trying to illustrate here. Technology continues to follow the green line and improves, what we call the machine technology curve. That is undeniable. We get better at things, and when I say that, I don't mean just the technology in the sense of computer programs or apps on your phone and things like that. As far as machine tools are concerned, I'm saying technology improves in terms of the materials we use to make the base out of, to make the gears out of, to make everything, cutting oils out of, and all this. Everything improves. It gets better and better. And when you talk about CNC machines, it really makes a big difference, because now you're talking about something that isn't just about what the materials are made out of or how they're made, but you also have multiple systems there. You've got the mechanical, you've got the electrical, you've got the hydraulics, sometimes pneumatics are thrown in there, and then you've got the software that drives the thing. So you've got a lot going on in a CNC machine, but even in manual machines, there is a technology improvement that is continuous. The design, the materials that we use, how the gears are arranged, what type of gears, etc., etc., etc. Okay, you get the point. Thanks. On the other side here, we've got the deterioration area of my graph, because any machine is subject to the laws of physics, the laws of nature. They do not change, at least not in this universe. Some things are, in fact, absolute truths. You put two gears together and you put a load on one, you put a force on one and a load on the other, they are going to deteriorate, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing that you can do about that. They will deteriorate. Even if they're lubricated and taken care of, they will over time deteriorate. Okay, so you go on a deterioration curve down this way here, machine performance curve. That affects the performance of that machine. It is going to get slower, more clunky, more noisy, more unsafe, lower quality. Won't be able to hold the tolerances that you will. You won't be able to hold the speeds that you were. Levers will get jammed up, or they'll fall off altogether. I've had that happen. All kinds of things go wrong with mechanical devices. Machines are no different. Okay, so you kind of get the picture here. At our purchase point here, everything hopefully is equal and fine and good, and you bought something good, but over the course of time, look what happens. They diverge. They go in opposite directions. Now, I'm going to revert to my little notes here because I don't want to skip a beat on this. Due to the fact that technology improvements as well as machine deterioration do not follow strict mathematical formulas, The curves depicted in this chart here are not straight lines, nor are they smooth curves. They could perhaps best be described as bumpy curves. So I could have drawn them as bumpy, but I think that kind of hides the point that I'm trying to make here, that things deteriorate and improvements continue to go up. Okay, now with this here being depicted, I think it illustrates the point that it's better to buy machines at the start of their life cycle than at the end of them. Now, a lot of people like used machines because they're comfortable and they're familiar, and they're used to how they work and what the needs are and stuff like that. When you get into something like CNC, the rules to the game change quite a bit, because there's a lot more that goes into those machines. We might talk about that a little bit later, but I want to make this point here. It may be much better, let me rephrase that. It may be a much better deal to buy the machine new, take care of it, and sell it after only 10 years before it starts having major mechanical issues. Such things as belts wearing out and, like I said, levers falling off and gears grinding and things like that. And what you do then is you buy yourself a better machine. This shifts the purchasing strategy to the start of the curve rather than at its end. So instead of buying equipment here that is at the end of its lifestyle, yes, it's a bargain price. And why is it a bargain price? Because it is not worth anything. That is very simple. Why are these expensive? Because they are worth it. They make a lot of money for their owners. This is why companies make new machines. If that were not the case, if these up here, brand new machines, were a bad deal, these guys would be rich, living in the fancy part of town, and these guys would be poverty stricken, and they'd be paid $10 an hour to sell new machines because everybody knows new machines aren't worth it. Now that does not make sense, because it isn't sensible. New machines make you more money. They make it faster, they do it safer, they do it more accurate, and you may say, I don't need things more accurate. Doesn't matter. That's just a perk that you get then. You get things more accurate even though you don't necessarily need it, but you still get it. Now, I should go off, or I should not go off in this direction for a minute, but sometimes that accuracy pays huge dividends. It means that you can do work more precisely, which down the road, if it's an assembly, those parts will go together more consistently, more evenly, more accurately, more just better than they would if they're made on a sloppier, worn out machine. That also means that when a customer looks at your product, there is something called perceived quality. Actual quality is in the performance, fit, form, and function of the product that you're making. Does it serve the purpose? Is it doing it well? Yes, it does. But if, for example, you went out and you bought yourself a brand new car, and that paint job on that car was all scratched up, there were dings in the hood, there were, the tires, they were in good shape, but they didn't look brand new. Would you still want to pay top dollar for that car? Fit, form, and function. That car is perfectly as good as one that is all spiffed up. All those things on the outside are superficial. But it gives you the perception that its quality isn't as good because it doesn't look so nice. So too with your product. If it doesn't look so nice, then people don't think it is so good, even though it may well be. What do you think they'd be more willing to pay a top dollar for? Something that looks good and performs well, or something that looks trashy but still performs well? I'd bet you, just because it's human nature, we want to go with the one that looks well, even though the performance is the same. That's called perceived quality. Okay, back to my notes here. This shifts the purchasing strategy to the start of the curve rather than its end. The result would be better quality, safety, and productivity from workers, less maintenance costs, and fewer delivery interruptions from slow machines, along with unexpected breakdowns. Old machines have unexpected breakdowns. So do new machines, but generally not. And if it's got a warranty, you're covered. You'll get it fixed in good time. So anyhow, just something to think about there. look at the horizontal Y graph and mull it over in your head. I think it makes a good argument for itself that buying machines new is a better deal. The one last thing that you must consider is what we call competition. The competition is out there, and even if you haven't noticed them yet, there is probably someone somewhere across this big planet here that is coming up with a way to make your product and your operations obsolete and replace it with theirs. In fact, I've even heard it said that the day you invent a new product or process or whatever, the day you invent something new and put it on the market, you have to be working towards making it obsolete, because if you aren't, someone else is. Alrighty folks, thanks for listening. God bless you and have a great day.